Home?
No!
You want to sleep? No! Would you like to take prasadam? Come on.
Maybe.
I can give a short talk, or I can be a Radhanath Swami. Bless his soul. I'll speak for 30 minutes. You were glorifying me, and now it's time for me to glorify Srila Prabhupada. My favorite subject. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyanam Guna Shalakaya Shri Chaitanya Manodisham Savitam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namasheshtam Manapapi Satiputram Archa Siripam Rupam Tasya Virajam Darupayam Apahim Bhaktivedanta Varakundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasam Tapto Yasya Adhika Upaya Shiguram Tam Atoshma. I'm going to have to keep the children use some of the mothers. I'm not sure that's the best place to have the children's tent. There might be a side room or something. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachi Mata, the association of Srila Sri Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and his older brother Sanatana Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radhakund, and Gauranga, and the desire within my heart of loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. Shakala Vaishnava Hare, Mora Namaskar, Ite Kichu, Aparara, Mahuka Amara, Hoyachen, Hoyben, Prabhat Dutta Bhaktivedanta, Bandhana Kori Shabara, Charanaravinda. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas, praying I may not commit offenses in my attempts to please him. To all Vaishnavas who have ever been, and to all Vaishnavas who will ever be, I offer my obeisances unto their lotus feet. I'd like to thank all the devotees. Even this is, I think the kids have to play maybe in front of it. Is there another place they can go? Just kind of turn us down the sound. Yeah. Is there a room they can play in?
There's a room there.
What's in this house here?
Swimming pool.
They can all go swimming.
Unless they're supervised.
I think the mothers.
If the mother's going there,
Yeah, if you have a child, you can take care of it. I'd like to thank everyone for your very beautiful offerings. They just get better and better every year. And this is the result of the process. That by taking up primarily the chanting of the holy names, and the Sangha, and association of devotees, the heart actually becomes purified. purified of the obstacles to bhakti. And our bhakti manifests in three ways, or it's directed in three ways. As Narottam Das Thakur stated in his Pratana. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata. It manifests firstly to the assembled devotees and to the spiritual preceptor, the spiritual master, and to the Supreme Personality of God. Like a seed in the ground. When you plant the seed in the ground and the rains come in the springtime, then that plant, which has the possibility of producing beautiful fruit, flowers which turn into fruits, it first manifests as a little, just pops its head above the soil. It's a little twig, you could say, just growing up, and then it continues to grow, and then it becomes fully manifest. So, our love develops in the same way. This is why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya encouraged us to always chant the Yuga Dharma in the association of devotees to begin with. Samsara sarpa dushtanam vachitanam kulo yuge sadham bhagavan namah Srimad Vaishnava Shevanam. You've heard me quote this many times. That those who have been bitten by the poisonous serpent of Kali Yuga shall get relief by the herbal medicine of a Sadham Bhagavan Namah. Chanting the holy names of the Lord, Srimad Vaishnava Sevanam, in the association of other devotees. The combination is very powerful. Just as we understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the mercy of our spiritual master, we also understand the glories of our spiritual master in the association of God brothers and God sisters. It was so nice today. I was watching the non-envious spirit that was present today, totally non-envious spirit, that when a God brother or God sister would lead their offering, then many of you were crying in appreciation. This is the non-envious spirit. When they were reading, it helped you appreciate more and develop more love for your spiritual master. Isn't that true? I could see that. This is why in the pastime of the Jharkhand forest, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on his way to Vrindavan with one servant. He began chanting the holy names. And because those holy names were coming from the mouth of the Lord himself, you can imagine how much potency is there. It caused animals who are in the darkest of ignorance, as Prabhupada would say in his introductory lecture, public lecture. Animals have only, their business is only four things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's putting it politely. Animals have a very low existence. I was listening to a lecture of Prabhupada the other day, and he was saying, take for example the dogs. A dog, when he's in trouble, can't even take shelter of his own kind. That's how miserable the life is. At least when we have trouble, we can call out to a relative, to a friend, even a stranger. If we go to the hospital, the nurse will take care of us. The doctor will show some compassion. But a dog's life, if the dog's in trouble, his own kind won't give him shelter. How miserable existence is. So that's animal life. Prabhupada would also point out the degradation in animal life by saying the animals don't have the ability to inquire into their deeper spiritual nature, which is ultimately the source of salvation from this world. Only human beings can do that. Atato Brahma. Now that you're a human being, now you can inquire, am I, what's the purpose of life, what's death, what is God? Animals, they have no, it's a condemned existence. We think, oh, the cute puppy dog, the little birdie, the soft kitty cat, but it's condemned. It's a condemned existence. We show compassion, like in India and Govardhan Puja, they distribute prasada to all the animals. But they can't inquire, condemned existence. So, we can hardly imagine. If we could go back in time, if there was some type of transcendental video or time machine, we might momentarily find ourselves in such a degraded condition, because since we left the spiritual world, we've been there, we've done that, according to Vyasa Swami. We've been in every universe, every species of life, every body you can imagine. That's why Prabhupada told my godbrother, Vishnu John Swami one day, very frankly, just give this one life to Krishna. You've been everything else. Since you left the spiritual world, you've experienced everything within this material creation. You've been in every universe, every species of life, every body. And are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you feeling content? So just make an experiment, he said. Give this one life to Krishna. Just one life. You've had millions and millions and millions. Just take the risk, he said, and surrender fully to Krishna and see what happens. Had you done that before, you wouldn't be here. So you haven't done it. You should do it now. Just take this one life. It's short duration, 75, 80 years, and see what happens. And Manor did that. He was such a surrendered disciple. So that's animal existence is such a condemned thing. That's why sometimes, when I'm sitting on a park bench or I'm somewhere and an insect crawls by, it kind of looks, it often brings forth laughter and jokes, but sometimes the ant's there and I reach over and I go closer and I say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Or even as a cockroach on the floor next to the bed, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. We don't know how powerful that. We don't have the understanding yet, the realization how powerful is that. What benefit that living entity may get. He may be able to surpass so many different species of life. Maybe even get a human form of life. Who knows? Mahaprabhu's Pratitya Pavan, the deliverer of the most holy. We take the chance to share Mahamantra with whomever we come in contact. So when Mahaprabhu was going through the Jharkhand forest, he chanted very loudly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And that chanting revived the dormant Krishna consciousness, which is there in the heart of every living entity, not just human beings, it's there in the heart. As Rupa Goswami says, Krishna consciousness is not something that you get from some other place, it's already there in your heart. So it's there, and that became fully manifest. That's called Krishna Kripa. Sometimes there's descriptions of there's Guru Kripa, there's Krishna Kripa. Just like Prabhupada gave Jayananda Guru Kripa. Jayananda admitted to one of my godbrothers just before passing away, he said, I'm so shameful. He said, Yogesh, I still have material desires. I've been serving a pure devotee for 7 years now. I've given my very best. I'm so shameful that I have to admit to you honestly, you're my godmother. I still have material desires. So he passed away hearing a tape recording of Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna. Everyone else was at Manor altar. He passed away alone. Actually, he wasn't alone. Prabhupada was chanting. And after he left, as you know, I've encountered this, that Prabhupada wrote him a posthumous letter. And interestingly enough, in that letter, Prabhupada said, when you died, if you had any amount of material desire still in your heart, Krishna is very kind. You don't have to take birth on this miserable earth planet. You've gone to Svargaloka. And from Svargaloka, in that pleasant atmosphere, you can gradually understand the nature of those desires and engage in devotional service and transfer yourself to their kingdom. How wonderful is this process? That even if we're not successful and we haven't overcome lust or anger and greed, there's still a concession. Alright, if you're still interested in those things, you haven't got the message yet, you haven't understood, okay, but go to Svargaloka. And in that atmosphere, it's a fairly pleasant atmosphere. You'll gradually come to understand. And by engaging in devotional service, you'll go to Vaikuntha. How wonderful this process is. There's no loss or diminution, Krishna says in Manor. What's more, there's always progress. In small increments, but as Confucius said, the longest journey begins with the first step. Better to be moving slowly in the right direction than running in the wrong direction. So how merciful our Guru and Guranga. But, Prabhupada said, because you were hearing the chanting of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I say you've gone to Krishna Loka. He didn't say Vaikuntha. Topmost planet, Loka Vrindavan. I say, this is Guru Kripa. Most likely he would have gone. Like Prabhupada said one time, most of my disciples are aspiring for the heavenly planets. It's just joking. He understood our fallen nature. We're trying. So that might have been the case, but what Prabhupada so much appreciated his service. He was driving a taxi, and the money he made from the taxi, he gave for the printing of the first volume. Prabhupada never forgot that. And he inaugurated Rath Yatra in San Francisco and New York. Did it very well. Excellent service. And for that service, you could say that he wasn't around like we have been around 45, 46 years. For that service, Prabhupada felt so indebted to him that he said, you have gone to. This is Guru Kripa. Most of our progress comes from mercy, blessings. From the Vaishnavas, from the Guru, and from Krishna. We may sit properly and chant as best we can, and make the best sweets, and but because of our conditioned nature, there's always some imperfection there. Still, it's acceptable. But really, our progress is coming by the mercy of Guru and Guru. It's just your mercy is all that I am. So that's Guru Kripa. And there's Krishna Kripa. Sometimes Krishna's expressed wonderfully merciful, like Kubja, the hunchback. Krishna straightened her out. And she had an interesting life, but she had some sentiment for Krishna. And Krishna fanned that spark, and she was delivered. Or, what to speak of Putana. In the theaters, like in Poland, we have our productions, and Putana always makes the little kids laugh. Some of them cry when they see her, the little ones, but 4 and above, she's got a costume, a long nose, and but Putana was a Rakshashi. Putana, actually, like Magrari didn't take pleasure, it didn't just kill the animals for food, he took pleasure in causing them to suffer before they die. This is to help us appreciate the power of the holy names and the mercy of the spiritual master. She was her substance, her desired foodstuff, was blood of children. She didn't accept blood from adults. Only her sustenance was, so she would kidnap children and suck their blood. That's the original vampire story. People like vampire stories nowadays, I see. We were on the plane the other day, and there were different movies people could select, but everyone in my section was watching the vampire. I'm thinking, I'm going to get out of here and go into economy. Otherwise I'll fall asleep. So Putana, she, Rakshashi. Rakshasha, male, Rakshashi, like Brahmachari and Brahmacharini. Prabhupada coined this word, by the way, Brahmacharini. So she was Rakshashi. And we won't go through the pastime, but she gave her breast milk to Krishna, and Krishna took it. She was coming to kill him, but he took it. Oh, she's like mother, she's giving me her breast milk to maintain me. He took it like that. He's so kind. And he was sucking on her breast, and he took the milk and he sucked out her prana, her life air, and she died. And she didn't merge into the form of the Lord. She didn't just, sometimes when you're liberated you can. Demons are liberated by the mercy of the Lord when they fight with him. She didn't obtain the form of Vaikuntha. She became a wet nurse. It means when the mother is suckling a child and she's so busy or she's ill, there'll be another lady who has a child also who will perform the duty of suckling the other child. It's called wet nurse. So Putana, the greatest Rakshashi, became an intimate servant of Mother Yashoda. What is this? And this story is recounted by Jiva Goswami in Tattva. And he mentions how when Shukadeva Goswami was in the womb of his mother for how long? 17 years? 16. Vyasadev's wife?
16?
16 years.
16 years. So he was a monist, a realized monist. He was a Brahmanandi. He was an impersonalist. It's all one. So inside, outside, what's the difference? You just stay in. Why come out? It's all one. This is Shukadeva. This is the Leela. When he finally came out, being a realized monist, he had no interest in any material affairs, which is often characterized by family life. We fulfill our desires through family life, and Krishna consciousness is gradually purify ourselves in family life. That's the safest way to advance in Krishna consciousness if we are gradually giving up our desires by working cooperatively with our family to get the higher taste of Krishna consciousness. But he came out, he had no anything to do with this. So he was fully grown, and he wanted to go to the forest, at least to associate with other Brahmanandis. And he ran. You can imagine mom and dad. They've been waiting 16 years for delivery, and then he runs away. So his father started following him. Shukadeva had no clothes on, because he was a avadula, nothing to do with this world. But because he was totally transcendental, when he ran past the lake where the young ladies were bathing, looking at him and being pious women, advanced spiritualists themselves, they could see he didn't have any material desires. They didn't bother to cover themselves in the lake. They're bathing. Ladies have their private place for bathing. The men don't go there. But on his way to the forest, he passed by. They didn't bother to cover them. They felt no danger. There was no lust. But when his father came by, Srila Vyasa did, because he was a Grihastha, they immediately covered himself. Of course, he was totally transcendental, but he was in that particular ashram for a particular purpose. But anyway, they saw him as a married gentleman. So Shukadeva went into the forest, and Srila Vyasadeva went back to his ashram. He was devastated, totally devastated. And he thought, how will I track my son back home? And he understood that higher than Brahman realization was Krishna consciousness. There's three phases of realizing the absolute truth. You realize the Lord in the heart, you realize the all-pervasive nature of the Lord, and ultimately the highest realization is Krishna in the spiritual world. The other aspects are subservient to God, to Krishna, Manor. So he knew this. So he thought, because we see actually that there are a number of cases where impersonalists become devotees. The four Kumaras is another example. They were also impersonalists, but they just tasted the tulsi leaf which had been on the foot of Lord Vishnu. That's all it took. We need a lot of mercy, a lifetime of gulabjanans and samosas and kirtan, association and bathing and body. They just had a tulsi leaf from the foot of the Lord. How powerful is Vrinda Devi, Tulsi Maharani? She's so potent. She appears in the world of men as a plant, Vrinda Devi. She's organizing all these pastimes, but out of her, in the spiritual life, she comes this woman from the plant. She's so merciful. That's why devotees generally chant japa in the presence of the Tulsi leaf. So that Tulsi leaf, the four Kumaras took, and they became bhaktas. So Srila Vyasadeva was, but rarely, if ever, does a devotee become an impersonalist. I haven't read that. Maybe in Kali Yuga some bewildered devotees may leave ISKCON and join some other camp or something like that. But we're speaking about realized souls. They don't become impersonalists. They don't step down. So Vyasadeva understood these things. He's a literary incarnation of the Lord. He's the author of the Bhagavatam, so he's the authority. So he said, took some sages, he said, you go to the forest and you chant some shlokas from Bhagavatam about the beauty of Krishna. You chant from 10th canto. Because 10th canto is like the face of the Lord, the full beauty of the Lord manifest. We start from the first canto, and which is the feet of the Lord, and gradually the knees, the waist, the chest. We go through first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And by the time we reach the 10th canto, it's to be understood that we have the knowledge